I just spoke with Lincoln County Sheriff Bill Beam, and he told me this is something that they've been doing since 2004, conducting active shooter training to make sure that all law enforcement are ready in case something like this would occur.
We all know the situation all over the country where there have been mass casualties at active shooters, and we want to make sure that we're prepared ahead of the curve of any type of situation. And it's very important for us to train with not only with our own department, but with other law enforcement agencies. We've had people here from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, the Community Corrections Group. We've also had all the officers from the Lincoln City Police Department, had Denver Fire Department. We've had people from Pumpkin Center Fire Department, because everybody in emergency services plays a role in this duty of in case we have one of these things happen.
Currently, there are school resource officers at all high schools and middle schools throughout Lincoln County.
Law enforcement has to respond. That's part of our duties, and when you put that badge on, you accept the responsibility that you might not be able to go home tonight. And I have officers that work for me that are totally dedicated to the community and will respond accordingly. And that means that we've learned so much from the other shootings that have taken place. We've tried to critique those and see what the response was and how we needed to prepare our response.
Because there have been so many tragedies across the country with school shootings, the sheriff says he wants to make sure that his officers are prepared.
We have changed this from 2001 all the way to now, upgrading it and changing our response, changing our tactics, because we found out when the first school shooting occurred at Columbine that the SWAT team came in, they methodically went through the school, and a lot of students there died because they bled to death. And so now everything that we do now is to get in quickly, take the threat out quickly, get emergency medical technicians in quickly and stop the bleeding and get these people transported to the hospital as quickly as possible. And we have to make sure that we keep the road open, because of course parents and everybody else is going to see the problem that's going on and want to see what's going on, worried about their children and so forth. But we have to be able to keep an avenue open to get the ambulances in, the ambulances back out to the hospitals all over the area, depending on how many injured that you have, to make sure that we give them the best possibility of recovery from their wounds.
I asked Sheriff Beam what steps they're taking throughout these training sessions to ensure the safety of students.
We have 4 different training sessions, and we go through and we identify the main roles for all of the officers that are involved in the training, and the EMTs and also the firemen. So everybody knows what their role is. And then we go through an incident command situation where we have a commander that's the first officer that's responding. We'll set up command and start directing the resources, which the additional officers, firemen and EMS workers that come in, to put them to where they're needed to be. And so that's what we're working on. We do it practical exercises, going up and down the hallways and practice. We use other officers that'll be the victims, so forth, and we'll have other officers that's role playing to be the active shooter and to make sure that we stop that threat.
And it's not just law enforcement officers and emergency personnel, but educators are also participating.
We've done a lot of training with the teachers, and we're moving more towards, at some point in time, probably having maybe a full-scale mock-up. We practice everything in sections. Back in April this year, we had a practice session with the schools on moving students from one place to another place if we had an emergency situation such as this.
And they are just wrapping up with the one they had this morning at 9 a.m. and then they will have another active shooter training session later on this evening. For more information, you can check WHKY.com. In Lincoln County, I'm Fentress Fountain, WHKY News.